Welcome back to Coach Talk. Hi, LJ.
Hi, Dave. How's the week been?
My week has been epic as always. How about yours?
Actually, different week for me.
Really?
So exploring lots of different things.
You've been busy.
I have been busy. I've been absolutely busy.
You've had lots of things. You know, the biggest thing you've done, which I noticed this week, which I'm really, really impressed about, is you have revamped our website.
I'm so excited to play in technology because, as I've said to many times, tech and I date and it doesn't buy me chocolates and flowers, so it's not going well some days. However, I'm really, really happy to have updated some stuff on our website and to include Kindness for Kids as the charity that we support on there with the links, and getting some pictures up of some beautiful people that we have spoken to. Just making it a little bit more user-friendly.
Love what you've done. For those out there, jump on the website and have a look at what LJ's artistic creativity has done. It looks really great. Thank you so much for helping Coach Talk and doing what you did with the website. It looks fantastic. So
thanks, son.
Yeah, jump on, have a look. It's really cool. The links are there, and onwards and upwards. I think that you did a great job, and I need to give you a bit of a shout out at the start of our podcast today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, bud. I really do.
You're so welcome. What are we going to talk about today?
Well, first of all, before we get into the topic, which is kind of related to how I started doing the the website, but we'll get into it in a second.
Yeah.
We've got some shout outs to do.
We have some
amazing international listeners that have reached out and let us know that they're loving what we're doing, as well as our amazing Australian listeners.
Yep.
So we wanted to give a bit of a shout out to some of our listeners and just say we appreciate each and every one of you, and that we love that you're getting value out of the gold nuggets that we give.
Absolutely. I was in South Africa only a few weeks ago. I was blessed to be there with boxing, with IBA, and doing some evaluating and upgrading of some international referees, which is what I do on the side. It was lovely. I met some great guys, and particularly I want to shout out to a couple of people. One of them is a lovely lady from Zimbabwe, Saru. She is just wonderful, and she sent me some photos of what she does with wonderful school kids over in Zimbabwe and how she works in the community there. And I want to, and we haven't asked her yet, LJ, but I want to actually get her on our podcast and have a talk with her about her life and her African life and what she does over there. And it's a completely different life to you and I and how we live here.
Yeah.
And I think our listeners would love to hear her perspective on how she gets through her day and what she does with her day with her school kids and people that she works with in the community. So I think, and she doesn't know yet, we haven't asked her, so this may be a surprise.
But
this.
I'm really excited after seeing her beautiful photos to be able to connect with her. She is, I guess, an everyday hero in the community that she teaches in and that she lives and works in, and she's doing amazing things for the people in her world, which is really exciting. And we love to celebrate the unsung heroes and the everyday heroes. We
do, absolutely. And for all the guys that I did meet overseas just recently in South Africa, we had people from all over the African nations coming down to Durban. Greetings to all of you from LJ and I here in Australia, and it was great to see you, and I hope you do enjoy our podcast and what we bring to you from another side of the world. So
because there's a couple of others that are in different parts of the world, isn't there?
There were people from I wouldn't remember all of the African nations, but there was Morocco, Botswana, there was Namibia, there was wonderful people from all over that I met. That was just, and then we had evaluators and other people that had travelled that do what I do from Emirates and from Saudi Arabia, from Russia, there was people from everywhere, and it was just, we got together and had a common goal and did the same thing, and it's amazing how we have so much commonality even though we are from different parts of the world. There's different culture and different habits, but you know what? All in all, we're all the same.
Yeah, I really love that. So wherever you're listening from, we are so grateful and humbled by the fact that you take time out of your day to have us play in the background, or when you're driving, or however you listen to us. Thank you. And we love getting your correspondence, your letters, your pictures. So thank you so much. And let's keep doing these and seeing how much we can connect the world, really, because that's our mission.
It is our mission, and we have fun doing this, don't we?
We do. We get to light one heart at a time, and then that's a chain effect, isn't it?
It is. So hit me with what
Ooh.
you're going to hit me with today.
Amazing. So following on, thank you so much. So following on from getting all creative with the website,
Yeah.
it actually sort of a couple of weeks ago, I ended up having a surgery on my hand, my dominant hand. So it's out of action for a little bit. And the challenges that have come with using my non-dominant hand have actually sparked today's topic of what are the benefits of actually challenging yourself to use your non-dominant hand. And if we link this back to your sport, boxing, you have to be very proficient with both hands. So I think this is a really nice tie-in on all round on what you do. So
this is a great podcast and we obviously it's an audio podcast, but sitting here with LJ, she has her right arm in a sling, can't use it at all from surgery. So you have had to do everything with the other hand, including handwriting. And you know what? Your handwriting left-handed is pretty good. Actually.
I won't torture viewers and put a sample of that on the website, but
yeah.
I can say honestly how resourceful we all are. Now, each and every one of us, it's amazing how resourceful we can be if we choose to be when these sorts of things happen. But more interestingly, having to use my left hand has really sparked my creativity and really led me down a bit of an interesting rabbit hole from opening up my awareness and my brain. And I wanted to talk to you about that because I'm normally a righty and you're a lefty, which is the perfect compliment, which we laugh at all the time. So switching from one hemisphere of your brain to another is something that is quite challenging for many of us. Have you ever tried brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand?
I have, and I found it challenging.
What about brushing your hair?
I have. Yeah, I have. Not as hard as brushing my teeth. I don't know why, but I'm lucky because I can do most things, both hands, but there are things that I'm dominant with one hand I don't do with another. And something like brushing my teeth, I guess I'm used to the muscle memory of that, where I suppose brushing my hair might be a little bit easier. But it's a good one with brushing the teeth. I very much feel like a fish out of water with that. Yeah.
And yet you still managed to do it.
Absolutely. I still got it done, but it was an uncomfortable feeling.
Well, I was wondering if it's okay if we go through some of the benefits, because there are a lot of benefits of actually training your brain on your dominant and your non-dominant hand.
Tell me more.
No, fantastic. Thanks, Dave. So did you know, Dave, that when you start to train your non-dominant hand, your perceptual abilities change? So your spatial awareness and even your emotional perception actually start to alter.
I didn't know that. I do now.
So we all know that one side of the brain is for create to please. I've forgotten which side it is. However, if you start to train the opposite part of the brain, because they are apparently responsible for different things. You know how some people are very structured, very logical, and other people are just amazing artists and drawers and musicians. That's got something to do with the brain training as well. And if you're looking for a good book to open up your brain in this capacity so that you have the opportunity to tap into more of your resourcefulness and to see how much more you're capable of, there's a book by a gentleman called Jim Quick, and it's called Limitless, and it's a great book to start with. So we talked about spatial awareness. So if you go from the right to the left hemisphere, you'll start to notice that you have a better grasp on spatial awareness, and you have greater focus on detail and sequential processing. Isn't that cool?
It's amazing how you can go from one side to the other.
Isn't it? You don't even think about it.
No, and I find that, and we've done this with studies and courses that we've done, how we've been shown how you can change your thinking from left to right to left, and you can actually activate other people to think in the left or right side of the brain, and I find that that's an amazing thing.
We haven't even scratched the surface of what the human body is capable of, and yet, I don't know about you, I'm fascinated by how we're made up and what we're capable of. Did you also know that the left hemisphere, I found my information, the left hemisphere is more your analytical and your rationale of your emotions?
Yes, you're right, it is. I remember, and this is only because of an exercise I did a while ago, I remember that a lot of my day is in the right hemisphere because it's creativity, and the left is more structure and analytical work. And yes, correct. So I did know that one because I remember sometimes you can switch from left to right and you get better responses from people whether you want them in left or right side. And I do remember that a lot of my day I'm in the right hand side of my brain, which is creativity. That says a lot for me, doesn't it?
Well, you're a lefty, so that's naturally. For those of you who don't know or you're not aware, the right side of your brain controls the left side of your body, and vice versa.
Okay, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so which is why when people have a left-sided stroke, it often affects their dominant side.
Ah, okay.
Because that's just how we're wired. We're wired for cross-purpose. That's how we balance.
I like it.
What else? Well, there's cognitive changes as well. Your language processing as well as your analytical thinking, not just your analytical processing, and your creative and intuitive, which we've already touched on. All of that starts to open up, and your ability from an understanding perspective starts to change and deepen. There's behavioural changes.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed the changes in, well, maybe you might now that we've mentioned it, the changes in kids when they're working out how to do things either left-handed or right-handed? Because when we're little, we don't know. Some kids take a while to work out which hand they want to write with.
Yeah.
But society says that right hand is what we should do.
Yeah. And more so when I was younger, and I suppose when you were younger too, because for those that are listening, you're as old as me. And
Thanks.
I sort of wasn't encouraged. I'm left-handed, but I wasn't encouraged to be left-handed. They kept trying to change me to be a right. I don't know why or what the culture with that was, but in my school days, primary school days, I was in a lot of trouble for being left-handed.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad these days. I think
now it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but back in the day, a bit of podcast on that.
That was last
back
week.
in the day, I was certainly in trouble for holding pens and pencils in my left hand.
So when you start to use your non-dominant side, your attention to detail changes. You start to be more goal-directed in your behaviour, and your decision-making style changes.
Interesting.
I thought this was fascinating.
I do too. This is fascinating.
What about how you talk to people, your communication style?
And that's affected by the side of your brain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's a how we receive information and how we process it.
Okay.
So therefore, if we just touch on the behavioural changes, so that if you're making different decision styles because you're accessing more of your ability to process and reason within yourself, then your ability to absorb and process information quickly and on a different level will also change the way you then have the ability to output the information and relate that information back to circumstance.
That's really interesting. So it's just, as you're saying that, I was thinking about, let's go into, say, a soccer player, or they may call it football in some countries. And you look at when football players or soccer players train, they train both feet, for example, and they need to do everything they do in their sporting arena on both sides. And from what you're saying as well, that also would help them in their ability to assess and their cognitive reasoning and their communication, because they're now working both sides of the brain, they're working both sides of the body. There's more to it than just learning how to kick a ball with both feet to get the ball to one side of the field or the other. There's a whole widespread, like a spider web type of system here, where it has so many benefits to the whole body and brain by using both sides. Yeah.
Well, take your passion for drumming.
Yeah.
Like you're ambidextrous, so drumming's really great. Music, people who play music, especially pianists, because the left and right hands have to work together to create, but independently to mix. So all of that is part of brain training.
You play the piano, LJ.
I tinker.
Oh, you play the piano. You're pretty good. And we talked about this last week, actually, just off topic. I don't know how you do it. I can't get my brain to figure out how two hands are doing two different things on a piano keyboard. I can't figure it out. But yeah, you play piano quite well. So
It's
how do you do
practice
it?
and discipline.
Yeah, it's extraordinary.
It's like
yeah,
it's like anything. You practice and discipline and persevere, and
Yep.
the ends have to outweigh the means.
yeah. It's something.
I always get that mixed up.
It's. I find that amazing. I can't play piano. I don't think I'll ever will. But you can do it. Yeah.
I was very fortunate enough to have lessons. Didn't think about it at the time when I was growing up, but now I love sitting down at the piano when I get the opportunity and tinker and
play chopsticks.
challenging. Yeah,
Yeah.
play chopsticks and and challenging myself on other. I think I've started. Well, I've got the guitar there ready to go because that's going to be part of my rehab for this silly wrist of mine.
Yeah.
So we've digressed so much.
We do that.
Did you know that there's just general overview benefits as well, like your optimism and your realism and your ability to focus on present and future also changes when you start to work from a non-dominant to and start to really develop that.
So you're saying that with all this, what you've just said, there's so many benefits in doing something, whatever it is, with a non-dominant part of your body, or either foot, hand, whatever it is. There's an overall benefit by being able to do something on both sides of your body.
And I guess what made me want to just sort of like explore this topic with everybody is because don't wait until it's necessary
Yeah.
to where you go, oh my goodness, my dominant hand is out of, or my dominant side is out of commission. Actually start to train it now because the flow-on effects are so... There's so much. Like I could have gone down a massive rabbit hole with this one, but these are just some of the key points that I wanted to raise today around the benefits of challenging yourself to be more resourceful and actually starting to do something that will benefit not only your health on a physical level, but a spiritual and a mental level as well.
There's a tennis player that I saw recently online, and he does not have a backhand. So he hits a forehand on both sides of his body.
Oh, and he just changes hands.
It's changes hands.
That's a strength.
Yeah, so he's actually ambidextrous and doing the same thing on both sides. So it doesn't matter where his opponent hits the ball to him, he would change hands and replicate the exact same shot, which is a forehand, on either side of his body. Which
That's
I find
impressive.
is impressive. I
That's
find
really
that is
impressive.
amazing. Now, there are critics out there that are saying that it's not tennis and it's not correct, and I like for me to think outside the square, and I think, well, he's playing tennis his way. He's within the rules of the game. I think it's extraordinary. I think it's
I'm just
great.
having a little chuckle because I agree. I'm like, but it's with a tennis ball and a tennis racket, so
Yeah.
how is it not tennis?
Exactly, but because he's not hitting a backhand, and that's where the criticism is coming in.
But where's the rule say that you have to hit a backhand?
Exactly. There aren't, which I love. And I need to look up this guy and have a look at who he is. I can't recall his name. But when you see him hit his forehand on either side, it is exactly the same as the other side.
Yep.
So he's perfected being dominant on both sides.
That's awesome.
It must
so
have
again, it gets back
massive
to
benefit to him and his whole welfare, brain power, everything he does and everything he is. It must have, from what you're saying with this research and what you've looked into, it must have massive benefit for this guy.
Absolutely. I know how much my world has changed in a couple of weeks with this arm of mine out of action, and having to challenge myself to actually have my handwriting legible, to doing, as I said, brushing my teeth and brushing my hair and being able to zip up my boots and should I say even drive my car one-handed.
So when you started writing with the other hand, and you showed me writing recently, which is pretty good. Actually,
Do you want to know something really
pretty
funny?
good. What?
I always laugh with my right hand and say, apologies to all the doctors out there, that I have doctor's writing because it's really not legible.
Yeah.
And my left hand is so much better.
It's pretty good. So did you feel how do I put it? Did you feel strange writing with your non-dominant hand, and has that improved now that it's become more comfortable now that you're doing it out of necessity, but you're doing it more often? Where are you now compared to when you started?
When I started, I had to be really purposeful and mindful
Yeah.
of how I was holding the pen, how I put the paper down, and really think about forming the letters.
Yeah.
I still need to think about it, but I'm not as slow as I was. So I guess if you go right back to primary school when you're learning your letters and your shapes and tracing them, it was a little bit like that. But, a couple of weeks down the track and I'm getting better.
Yeah.
I'm getting quicker and starting to venture into doing a little bit of cursive instead of just print, which is interesting.
Yeah. This is a great. You can be our lab rat for the moment. So it's proof that you or us,
Mm-hmm.
we can train our brains to do something which is difficult, challenging, unfamiliar, or something you didn't think you could do. We can retrain our brains to actually do something new and make it become familiar. Because you're doing that with your
100%.
handwriting. You're doing that now with your writing. And I saw your writing today. Your writing's pretty good.
Like even, putting my socks on, zipping my boots up.
Yeah.
Hanging up the washing was really funny because
Yeah.
I don't use pegs in my left hand. My left hand is a holder hand.
Okay, so most importantly, this is an important question, LJ.
Don't go there, Dave.
I have to go there. No, that's not what you think. Okay, important question. Your coffee machine in your kitchen.
Yep.
Because I've seen your coffee machine many, many times.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
You make coffee right-handed.
I do.
So how are you going with your non-dominant hand? Is the coffee quality still there?
I'm a gun. Do you know?
I love it.
Do you know one of the things that I believe, and this is purely for everyone. I hope you're enjoying this topic of conversation, and I hope it spurs you to actually challenge yourself to think outside the box for what you're capable of.
Yeah.
But one of the things that never crossed my mind because I didn't have a choice was I never said the word can't.
Yeah.
That hasn't even entered. It was just like, oh well, I've got to. If I want to do that, I have to actually step into it.
Yeah.
So we all know people in this world who you go, have you tried this? And they go, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
But there's no logical rhyme or reason as to why other than choice.
Have you come across, and I have, you've come across people where within a half a second you suggest something to them and they go, oh, I can't do that.
Yep. Because they've already decided that
Yep.
it's beyond their scope of limits. However, I would like to challenge that and say that if you had no choice, you would find a way.
I agree with you 100%.
And that's with everything. So
Yeah.
if you're in a situation, regardless of what it is at the moment, if
Yeah.
you're finding life a little bit challenging and you're wondering where, or you're stuck, or you're wondering where to go from here,
Yeah.
choose a direction and make a conscious decision to step towards it 1% every day.
1%. And we've talked about this
Consistency.
previously, 1% every day.
Yeah.
So, okay, so there's things that you cannot do right now because, what do I call you? My winged warrior.
Winged warrior, yeah.
Winged warrior. There are things that you can't do right now. So things like, how did you go putting the key in the door to open your front door?
Like a challenged individual.
Yeah. And now, a few weeks later.
A few weeks later, it's second nature.
Yeah.
Of just, even to the point where
Yeah.
it's weird. I don't do it. Well, actually, I have done a lot of writing left-handed recently, or a lot of scribble, I should say, but it's better. It's actually just when I pick up a pen now, it's left-handed.
Okay, so you walk up to your letterbox and you would normally open the back of your letterbox with your right hand
Yep, now it's left.
and you don't think about it?
No. Did you know
Yeah.
one of the funniest things that I laughed at? And have you ever tried to start a right-handed made lawnmower with your left hand?
No.
It's very funny.
I've never done it with the left hand. I've always used my right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I had
Yeah.
to learn how to start my lawnmower with my left hand when it's actually set for a right person.
Wow. Now, okay, scissors. Because scissors are normally designed for right-handed people, and being left-handed, when I use scissors, they don't cut
Properly.
as well because of my left hand. How are you going with things like that? Have you had to use scissors since you've had your arm in a sling?
Yes, and finding that because they're right-handed scissors, that is a challenge. So I tend to grab my little knife and do things.
So, and that brings me to knife. So when you're cutting something up left-handed, you've had to swap everything around
Everything
to
around has to be
everything to
swapped.
non-dominant for you.
Yep. So
Wow.
some cutting I actually give up, or I put it in the what do you call it, like the food processor, and I cut it up different ways. I just have to
Yep.
be resourceful.
This is really interesting, and it's really good because it shows that it can be done. Simple, basic tasks like sitting with you before we recorded, you drink your cup of tea and your cup of coffee out of your left hand,
Yeah.
which now, watching you, you didn't even think about it. You just picked up your coffee mug and drank your cup of coffee.
And if I can do that in 3 weeks, there's no limits to my ability to achieve anything.
I love it. And that is a great message for all of us. I
Hopefully.
like that. Yeah.
I would love to hear how just brushing your teeth with your left hand, it feels a little bit awkward at first, but I urge you to persevere, because the benefits that will flow on into your world without even realising it are going to lift you and show you doors that you didn't even know you had the capacity to open.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it.
Thank
You're a
you.
living example because of necessity, because you've been through an operation, that you've had no choice but to use a non-dominant hand.
Yep.
And you know what? And correct me if I'm wrong, but you're happy for that. You're happier that you've acquired, and they're new skills. They are definitely new skills. You're happier, and you seem pretty proud of yourself that you are achieving and living and doing and being, even using a non-dominant function.
Yeah, I must admit,
I think you are.
I've been able to feed and clothe myself, which is for no mean feat when you've got half of your body out of action. However, the point of today was about challenging yourself to step outside your comfort zone, because you know how much we love to actually challenge our audience to take some of the gold nuggets around what we share and to try and apply them in your own world.
Yeah.
So I guess my message today is really in sharing a little bit about my journey that I've faced and some of the interesting bits and pieces from the last couple of weeks that I've faced, is you're capable of more than you realise.
Yeah.
Please don't wait until you have no choice to start training part of your body that's going to open up doors for you.
Yeah. Give it a go.
Give it a go. There's absolutely no reason that you cannot step into achieving something new other than the fact that you choose not to. Because if you really want to change where you're at, regardless of whether it's an injury, it's a job, it's circumstance, it's family, it's financial, whatever you're facing at the moment, it's just a point in time that you have complete choice over changing direction.
Yeah, I love that. And it's amazing in life when you give yourself the permission and the choice, and you say to yourself, I choose to ... So I choose to use my left hand. I choose to do something that you don't normally do with a different part of your body. I choose. And when you do that and you say, I choose, that sets you up then to then take the next step, jump into that unfamiliar territory, make it familiar, and actually have a win out of that.
Everything new starts off as a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah, yeah.
Until you practice it, and you practice it consistently.
Mm.
Half an hour every day, or even 5 minutes every day, is better than waiting until you have no choice.
Can I put some of your handwriting up on the website?
I apologise now to all the listeners and readers, but yeah, I'm happy to compare the differences, because I am pretty proud of it.
Let's have some fun with this.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for listening, and thank you for challenging, being part of my challenge and allowing me to explore this little rabbit hole with you that I really believe it has far-reaching benefits for every one of us when we actually start to stop focusing on our strengths and we start to challenge ourselves to build our capabilities of new strengths and skills.
Great topic, great podcast. Thanks, LJ. I've seen the benefit of just watching you get through your day and succeed in how you're going with using a non-dominant hand, and the science behind it, the brain behind it. It's a great topic, and I thank you for sharing it with us today.
No, you are so welcome, Dave, and thanks everyone for listening. I hope you got something out of it.
I'm sure they did, and I will talk to you next time.
Thanks, Dave. Take care,
All
everyone.
the best. See you.
Hi, it's LJ and Dave here. Thank you so much for listening to the latest podcast.
We love what we do, and we know you get something great out of each and every publication.
So don't forget to jump on the website, coachtalk.com.au. Leave us a message. Let us know what you're up to, what you're enjoying, what you're loving most, and what else you'd like to see us do.
You can also find all of our content on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, and Apple Music.
Coachtalk.com.au is the website.
Coach Talk.
We've got you.